Hello, I'm Dr. Shoshana Garfield, and today I want to talk to you about something that doesn't seem like it makes sense at first. And this is about being kind to people who have been very unkind to you, and to do so in ways that protect you from being even more vulnerable, from being hurt or exploited by them again. So it may seem, why be kind to them? I've tried so much in the past, it hasn't worked, and look at that. A lot of kindness is actually masquerading under a mask of appeasement. So I urge you to check your past actions. Have you been kind in the past, but in ways that have been trying to please or appease those people that have been so unkind to you? If so, that's not real kindness. Because real kindness comes from a position of strength for you. Real kindness comes from wanting to give of yourself because it's just the right thing to do. Real kindness is about caring more about your values and living your values in ways that work for you, and finding ways creatively to express that even with people who have been unkind. It's very, very different than appeasement. And here's another thing. Allowing yourself to be kind to people who have been unkind to you doesn't make their unkindness okay, any more than forgiving them makes their unkindness okay. That's a big myth about forgiveness, and possibly even a myth about kindness, where kindness can be seen as weak. Far from it. What they did is not okay. It will never be okay. That's separate from your capacity to be kind. So here's another thing about being kind to people who have been unkind to you. And that is that being kind to them doesn't mean that you need to invite them into your life, invite them into your home, make them dinner every Saturday night. There are limits. And it's not about limits on kindness. It's about limits on what's acceptable for you in your life in terms of relating with that person. Because you can be kind to them in your heart, even whilst you limit your contact with them. So you don't have to be vulnerable to further exploitation from them in any way, either the unkindness they did or in the former appeasement that you may have done. All that can stop, even in the midst of the kindness to them, even in the midst of that. And if the person misinterprets your kindness as appeasement or as an excuse to access you more, then you can say, hey, you could just say, you've misinterpreted that. And then you've got a choice. Remember, you've trained them with your former behavior into thinking that you're a pushover. So with the new limits, that needs training as well if you want any kind of ongoing relationship with them. Or you can decide, actually, I've really had enough and I wish you well in your journey. Finito. That's it. Over. Hasta la vista. And done. This is very personal to me at the moment. I had former friends living in my former home in London who wound up stopping paying rent, then refusing to either pay rent, any rent, or to move out. And so I had to be kind but firm with it, and it was a real challenge for me to find the limits of empathy there. And whilst I literally cried over having to go there and asking them, demanding actually that they go, to be able to do it congruent with my values was very important for me so that I could end the day still respecting myself. So I was kind to them for my own sake, not for theirs anymore. The friendship is over. But my relationship with myself obviously continues. And that's the one relationship I've really got to be careful is always going to be making sense and always stays clean. Here are a few more things on this before we end for today. One is that being kind allows you to continue to be the good person you know yourself to be without turning into a big ogre every time you see that person. And then okay, putting it, okay, I can be a nice person again because they've left the room or whatever. So you can have your continuous experience of yourself as a good person. Okay. And secondly, if you don't feel like being kind, don't. You can't force yourself to give truly from the bottom of your heart if it's not there, right? If you're feeling like you really don't want to be kind, then it just indicates there's more forgiveness work to do. And you're still a good person in the midst of you doing your work. And so to retain that. It's important, however, to also refrain from being unkind in return in the meanwhile. So just back off, take care of your own stuff, and then you can return to the relationship and do what needs to be done that makes sense for you. And lastly, you can use your feelings and your willingness and ability to be kind in those moments to people who have been very unkind to you as a kind of barometer of where you are on your own forgiveness journey. So to give you a summary recap and end with an invitation, instead of finding yourself cursing them all the time in your thoughts, try being kind in your thoughts instead. To understand that for them to do what they've done, they've been in immense pain. Also balanced with, and they haven't got the right to do that. Whatever that thing is. And to be able to come to a balance for you of what are you willing to give of yourself that still protects you as well from their behavior. And to be really clear with yourself on that before you interact with that person. Before you interact with them. It's really important. Because otherwise, all the emotions is going to make you even more vulnerable in a moment, and you won't have your mainstay, your foundation, your rock to hold on to of what the decision was that you had already made. So get your clarity on what you're willing to give first. And also, have clarity on your willingness. Don't interact with them until you're ready to, till you're good and ready to. And lastly, really be sensitive to how you may be falling into appeasement and out of the strength of your true kindness. And instead, stay in it. And very best wishes for you in all the bridge building and bridge repair work that you have in your life right now. Bye for now.